Today I'm making homemade laundry detergent, and as I'm sure you've discovered, eating real food gets to be kind of pricey, so we look for any way to save money in other areas that we can, and one way that we found is to make our own laundry detergent. And one added bonus is that it's a little more natural than most of the detergents you find in the store, or at least it's made of much fewer ingredients and no perfumes. This is the bar of soap that I like to make. We're actually going to grind down or chop into little pieces a bar of soap. And I just get the simplest soap you can find, which the ingredients on this is saponified, I don't know how you say it, oils of palm and coconut, and glycerin. That's all that's in this. Okay, so we need 5½ ounces. Here's the brand of soap that I happen to get. I get this through a food co-op, but I've also seen it for sale at No Name Nutrition. Maybe Jane's has it, Whole Foods. I'm not sure where all you can get it in Omaha. But you need 5½ ounces. And these bars are smaller than that. So I'm going to use probably about 1½ of these bars. Let's see. Got a little scale here, and that's just under 4 ounces. So you can use a cheese grater also. But I'm going to chop it. I usually do use a cheese grater, but there we go, 5½ ounces. So I'll just use this for next time or around one of our sinks or something. So anyways, you can just use a cheese grater, but I sometimes catch my fingers, but just to show you, maybe I will just do it this way. It's alright if you see me bleed. Because we're going to melt this in some hot water on the stove, and it melts a lot faster if you grate it, because it's going to be in these tiny little shreds. Just don't eat it, because it is going to look like cheese. Alright, so you get the idea. I'll cut the tape. But I'm going to shred all of this down, and then I'm going to throw it into a pot with 4 cups of hot water. So I'm going to go ahead and shred this up, and then I'll be back to show you the next step. This is step 1. Alright, I'm finally done shredding, and I changed my mind. I decided to go with a compromise solution. I shredded up most of the soap, but I saved these little nubs, and I'm just going to chop them up with a knife, which that will save me from accidentally shredding my fingers, which I've done before, and it's not comfortable. So it's just as well, then you'll be able to see the chopping method too. Honestly, both methods, each one, they're kind of a pain, but I only have to make this detergent like maybe once a year, because A, we only have 2 people living here, and B, it's a concentrate, and we're going to make an entire 5-gallon bucket of it, so it's going to last a while. The cost is pretty low also. It's just a couple bucks for a couple bars of soap, and then the other ingredients that we're going to use are washing soda, which you can get if you're in Omaha. I found this at the Hy-Vee on Cass Street, and I also found borax, which is the other ingredient that we're going to need. I didn't find both of them together at any other store, so if you want to save yourself some trips, and they're probably available other places, that's just where I found them. And I haven't bought them for a couple of years because you don't use very much, and it's a big old box. But anyways, here's the little cubes that I'm just dicing this up, pretty small. With most of it being shredded, it should still melt up pretty quickly. And again, we're just going to put 4 cups of warm water in here. And then we're going to just cook it on the stove over medium heat until all the soap has melted. I should have pre-chopped some of this. Didn't realize it would take so long. Anyway, so like I said, there's not going to be any fragrance to this, but if you would like some fragrance, the instructions say you could drop in some drops of essential oil. I'm not really sure how many. I've never done that. But if any of you try it, leave a comment and let us know. Or if you have any other recipes for homemade laundry soap, that'd be great too. Several people that I know have also used this directly on stains, to remove stains. One gal reported that it kind of took the color out of a spot where she had done so, but I haven't heard that from anyone else. Everyone else has been pretty happy with the stain removal aspect of this, but I've never tried it because I've been too nervous to ruin my clothes. So there we go. It's in there. We're going to add 4 cups of hot water. And really we're about done with the time-consuming part of this. And this is the extent to which it's going to dirty any dishes or anything. 4 cups hot water. Throw it on the stove on medium heat till it melts. And then we're going to dump it in that 5-gallon bucket. And add a little bit of borax and washing soda and some water. Stir it up, let it sit overnight, and then it'll be done. So I'll pop back here and show you. That's what it looks like now, and I'll check back in with you when it's melted, and we'll pick up from there. Alright, it's been quite a bit of time. I don't remember what time it was, but this is taking forever. Actually, the shredded soap melted pretty quickly, like within 10 minutes maybe, but I don't know if you can see, there's still some, yeah, like right here, chunks floating around in there, so I might adjust my method and just risk losing some skin and shred it all up next time. Just be a few more minutes and then I'll check back with you to move on with the rest of the soap making. Alright, looks like it's all finally melted. That's what it'll look like. And I've got to set my camera down. Whew, I hope someone's coming over to do those dishes soon. Anyway, let me set this down. Pardon all of my egg peeling mess I've got going on. Alright, so then you need a 5-gallon bucket. You can get one at Home Depot probably. This is left over from when we got some honey in bulk a while back. And you need to fill the bucket half full with hot water. And then we're going to dump in the melted soap, half a cup of borax, and a cup of the washing soda. Then we're going to fill this the rest of the way with hot water, stick the lid on it, and just let it sit overnight. Then tomorrow I'll come back and show you. It'll be like a really thick gel, and we'll just stir that up, and it's pretty much done. If you don't have a deep sink like this, maybe you have like a mudroom sink or something. Otherwise, you might have to just fill a large container, set the bucket on the floor, and just keep dumping your water into it. Alright, you get the idea. So that's half full of hot water. We're going to dump our melted soap in. Add our borax. Add our washing soda. Then we're going to stir this up until all of the powder dissolves. You can kind of tell when it's dissolved because you won't feel the grit on the bottom of the bucket. Like you may have heard it at first. It sounded kind of sandy and gritty, but now it really doesn't. I think it's pretty much mixed up. I'll show you what that looks like. And now we're just going to fill it the rest of the way with hot water. Just up to about the 5-gallon line here, the top line in there. You want to leave a little bit of room. Alright, so I'm going to fill it up, throw the lid on it, and let it sit till tomorrow, and then I'll be back. Alright, it's the next morning, and we're here in the laundry room. I just took the lid off of the bucket so that I can stir this up and get it divided out into some containers that I have here. We're making 5 gallons, so if you just get 5 1-gallon jugs, either left over from whatever milk you might use or water jugs or whatever, then we can transfer it into those. I just stick a funnel in there, and then I use a little pouring pitcher to scoop it out of the bucket and dump it into the jugs. It's a little watery on top. I don't remember that happening last time I made it, but again, that was a year ago. You'll need a big stick too to be able to stir it up in this bucket. It looks pretty watery on top, and you probably can't tell on camera, but it's really thick at the bottom. So I'm just going to get it stirred up so it's a nice consistency and it's all homogenized. And then I'll transfer it into the containers so that it's all the same. See, did you see that big glob there? Yeah, it's pretty gelled up at the bottom. So this is going to take a minute. I'll be back when I'm done stirring. Alright, I'm all done stirring. And now that I'm done, you probably can't tell on camera, it just looks liquidy, but it's kind of the consistency of like cold gravy after it kind of hardens in the fridge. And you have two choices here. You can just leave it in this 5-gallon bucket if you have a handy spot right next to your washer, which I really don't, and I don't want to be spilling it all over my laundry room floor to get it into the washer. So I like to transfer it into jugs, like I said earlier. So I'm going to do that now. And then the amount that you use, if you have a regular top-load washer, you're going to use 1/4 of a cup. And our old washer was that type of washer. So that's why I have that down here. I need to swap it out. Because if you have a high-efficiency washer, you only use 1/8 of a cup. And also, my cousin, hi Mandy, she even cuts that in half. And in her high-efficiency washer, for the past year, she's only been using a tablespoon, and she said that works great. So I might give that a try. With 1/4 of a cup, you get 320 loads. With 1/8 of a cup, if you have a high-efficiency washer, you get 640 loads out of this bucket. So she gets like 1,180 loads by cutting it in half to a tablespoon, and she said that that works just fine. So I think I'll give that a try, and I won't be making this stuff for a really, really long time. Another container that works well, although it would take many more of them to use all of this up, is just old water bottles. Because especially if you're pouring into just a tablespoon or 1/8 of a cup measuring cup, it'd be easy to kind of overflow it if you're dumping out of a heavy gallon jug. So these work out great too. It just takes a little more time right now. And also I should point out that if you don't want to leave it in the bucket, you really should transfer it to these other containers right now, like the very next morning, because I told you it's the consistency of kind of cold gravy. It's maybe a little thinner than that. But by tomorrow, it's going to be really like separated into little globs and stuff, and it's really difficult, at least with the funnel that I have. It doesn't really go down the funnel neck very well, but today it will. So I think that's about all I've got to say. We spent maybe $4 making this whole 5-gallon jug, and it's going to do at least 640, if not 1,180 loads for me, and I only do 2 or 3 loads a week, so you know, that's 150 loads a year or so, max. So this is going to last a really long time. Earlier I said I make it once a year. Well, I forgot to mention that I end up giving tons of it away, which is another great thing about these little water bottles. It makes a nice sample amount to give to friends so they can try it out before they go through the trouble of making their own. One last thing. This will not really suds up in your washing machine, but don't let that fool ya. It's not the suds in soap that does the cleaning. It's the composition of the soap. They just kind of add things in there that make soaps bubble, so people get the illusion that it's like working, but it's working no matter what, so don't worry about that. And also, if you have the capability in your washer, you might want to add it in as the water is running. I can't do that in the high efficiency washer, but it must work just fine. Also, in the high efficiency washers, you're not supposed to use sudsing soaps anyways, I believe, so it works out great for that. Alright, I'm all done. Now I just need to wipe off all of these containers because I did kind of a sloppy job. But this is what it looks like for about, with my high efficiency washer, at least 4 years of detergent. And if I split the amount in half, you can see we're pushing close to a decade for like under $5. Awesome. Give it a try.